Hello, everyone, and welcome into another episode of Sports Betting by Dummies. I am your host, Patty Parlays, and joining me as always, the expert of experts, the guy of guys, the the guy that will be leaving us here shortly, Connor. Connor, welcome in. Glad to have you here for one of the last times.
The guy that you're gonna run out of names for.
Yep, yep, yep.
Okay.
That's. I think for your very last episode, I'm just gonna make like a laundry list of like describing or adjectives for you, so it'll
Yeah,
be
Yep.
prepared and just like keep going.
I want
Okay.
like 20 cringy nicknames. Just keep rifling them off.
All right.
I'll join in after you read them all off.
And Connor, and then you pop in, and we're ready to go. I like it. And joining us back from the dead, it seems, the Green Goblin himself, the voice of God, Dizz. Dizz, welcome back, buddy. We missed you on Monday.
Hey, thank you. I appreciate that. I really have no excuse. I was off work on Monday and did not plan accordingly, and it was like 4:30, and I was like, shit, I can't do the pod. So that one's on me, but I'm bouncing back. I'm coming in hot, and I'm gonna win this December dumbest dummy boy.
So you were very
I feel like I'm
close.
due.
You were very close to being disqualified because
I was aware.
yeah, yeah. And I talked to Connor about it on last episode. I said we might have to DQ Diz for this month because we have absolutely no idea where he's at. We've asked for it for weeks. We didn't have anything, but fortunately, before you came back on the pod, you helped us out. You gave us the results. So when we get to the Dumbest Dummy competition, we do have updated standings for everybody.
Yep, that's my bad. Today I realized that I probably should get DQ'd, so I said, fuck it, I'm going to do it at work. If anyone catches me, I'm just going to say, hey, this is an emergency. I have to be on Fanduel right now.
Yeah, I'm sure that would go over real well.
Fortunately, no one saw me. A lot of people were on PTO, so it was a perfect day for me to go back and get some records. So sorry for the delay, but glad we could get those numbers in.
Yeah, absolutely. Which, thank you for that, Diz, because that also leads us to a transition into our topic for today. We did tease this on Monday's episode, but today we're going to talk about our FanDuel year in review. Now, all of ours are going to be extremely different, and that's what makes this great. Connor, he started doing FanDuel and stuff basically when he started getting on the podcast. And so
Yep.
he has like half a year max. Probably not even half a year.
No, not even close.
Yeah. And then Diz is a much different better than me. You guys know this. He's all about the safer bets, the straight bets, the stuff like that. I'm about the long shot, the Hail Marys. So this should be fun. This should be interesting. Now, before though, I did want to bring this up because I've been thinking about this for like a week now. I'm curious to what your guys' answer to this question is or what your thoughts are on this. But when you think of like the year in review type stuff, like just reviewing your year of being on an app, what
Hmm.
first comes to your guys' mind is the one app that really popularized this? Like this
That'd be Spotify.
Spotify. That was my answer, and I figured that would be everyone else's answer. But
I would not.
Spotify,
I would
you
not
weren't
know.
feeling Spotify?
I watched it a few times this year, maybe, or went on it a few times this year.
Well, and so it really, if you were big on social media, everyone would always put out their Spotify. They call it Spotify Wrapped, which is like your gift of like what you listen to the most over the year. So that's immediately what I think of when I think of these year in reviews. But I was just curious if you guys had thought that or know of any other apps or anything like that that do kind of this similar thing.
Oh, I want to comment on this. That's a great point. I love the FanDuel year in review because I have Apple Music. And
Mm.
shout out to the Podfather for paying for my Apple Music. That's why I don't have Spotify.
Mm-hmm,
But
mm-hmm.
Yeah, so Fanduel year in review is great for me because I feel a little left out when I don't get a Spotify Wrapped. So definitely hyped that I get a Fanduel year in review, and I'm pretty juiced to talk about mine. Obviously juiced to hear about Patty's because his year in review is insane. So I'm juiced to talk about it today.
Absolutely. So, for those that don't know, I mean, if you look on social media, you'll find these. If you actually bet on FanDuel, it's at the very top. It just says 2021 year in review, and it'll give you your most bet team, your biggest underdog win, your favorite type of bet, your biggest winning day, your most bet on sport, your total bonus awarded, which that's not a huge deal. The number of same game parlays and parlays won, your biggest single win by dollar amount, and then your biggest same game parlay or parlay won by dollar amount. So I guess we'll start at the top, boys. Most bet team. I know what Dizz's is, but Dizz, do you want to share yours, or do you want? I don't know how we want to go about doing this.
Yeah, absolutely. And I want to let Connor guess this one before I say what it is. Connor, do you have any guess on what my most bet team was this past year?
This past year, oh boy,
It's a lot. They're just trying to think of like what sports happened, what teams would Diz like to bet on.
It honestly surprised me, so I'd be very surprised if you got it.
It surprised me as well.
you guys will not guess mine. You give me the sport?
MLB, baseball.
Oh boy, was it the Reds?
It sure was the Reds. Shout out to Sunshine.
I was only thinking of Sunshine.
pretty much right when we started this podcast. It was kind of in the dog days of summer, and I mean, bet together, win together. I was riding with my boy Sunshine. I mean, I'm a big fan of emotional hedging, but there was a good 2-month chunk there where the Reds were red hot, and no one gave them credit, so the money line value was insane. I made great money off the Reds this year, and even though we didn't make the playoffs and it was kind of a disappointing finish, at least I got to profit off of them. So shout out to the Reds. Shout out to Sunshine. He probably won't listen to this pod, but Sunshine, if you're listening, I appreciate you. I appreciate your resilience and your persistence with the Reds. It's tough to be a Reds fan, but glad I got to cash on that.
I would say, I think coincidentally, that 2-month span that Diz was always betting the Reds money line was probably the most frequent appearances of Sunshine on this podcast. I don't think those are coincidental. I think we came to the conclusion that the Reds are the best team in baseball when Sunshine is on this podcast and betting on the Reds money line. So,
absolutely, I'm going to convince him to be on the pod more because when he was on the pod, we were playing really well. So let's get him back on.
I thought for sure, Diz, your most bet team would have been the Florida Panthers. I thought, because I thought you would always do like $5 live bets, and all last season, you know, the Panthers were losing and going in late in the games, and you tell me about how you put $5 on the Panthers and they won you 25.
Yeah, that's a good guess because at the end of last season, I definitely profited off the Florida Panthers, especially live bets. The way the Panthers win games, they like to give up a goal or two early, but their offense is so high powered that I would love to jump on a live bet and get some value. I haven't done it a lot this season, just from like an emotional hedging standpoint. I think our record is way better than anyone thought it would be. So I've kind of stayed away for that reason. The value hasn't been great, but yeah, that would be a good guess as well.
So here's another question for you guys. So most bet team, do you think that's in terms of actual bets or if that's dollar amount?
I think it's dollar amount.
I don't know if I agree with that because what did we all bet? We all bet we didn't bet on a team, did we? When we did the 100-piece, didn't we?
We bet the over.
Exactly.
So that was,
and that's a lot of my Panthers bets as well, were the overs because we score a lot of goals. So
yeah.
Rarely did I take Panthers money line unless it was live.
Yep. And then also with baseball, there's just so many more games to bet on than any other sport. So not super surprising that was the case. All right, Connor, your most bet team.
Any guesses on the sport?
I'm guessing NHL heavy.
What's your guess?
I'm guessing I'm guessing it's the NHL, and I'm guessing the Vegas Golden Knights.
I just want the sport.
Just to be different, I'll say NBA.
It is NBA.
Oh, and you hate the NBA.
I know. Any guess on the team?
Okay. Let me think about the team here. Golden State
I
Warriors.
opened it. I was like, "What's your guess, Diz?"
Oh shit, I don't know. I have no idea.
Just pick an NBA
I'll
team.
I'll go with the Milwaukee Bucks.
It was the Golden State Warriors.
Yes.
I opened it and I was like, "Are you kidding me? Like how?"
Yeah. But over like the first few weeks of the season, there was no team to bet on more consistently than the Golden State Warriors.
Yeah.
So mine is also in the NBA, but Diz, you might already know this if you remember, because I did send you a screenshot of this. But so if you don't remember, Diz, you can take a guess at the team. But Connor, do you want to guess the NBA team that I most bet on?
Let's see. The Hornets. No?
Diz, do you have a guess or do you remember?
I thought from your screenshot it was your ex-girlfriend that you keep calling the Houston Astros.
No, that is not correct. But you were in the right general area. It is the Phoenix Suns. And do you know why it's the Phoenix Suns? Because if you recall, and I believe this is correct, but didn't the Phoenix Suns make it to the Western Conference Finals last year? Or the NBA Finals last year, I believe. And so last year, the Suns were red hot, especially at the end of the season, and I would just constantly bet them like every single night, regardless of the spread or anything like that. And it's kind of continued this year. They've been a very good team against the spread. So yeah, it wasn't super surprising to me because it's not one of my favorite teams, but I don't like to bet on my favorite team. So mine's a little bit tougher to gauge. So 2 NBAs and an MLB for this crew. It's pretty wild considering I didn't really consider Dizz to be a heavy MLB bettor.
I bet it is amount of times bet, because like you said, like there's so many MLB games to bet on. I obviously bet NFL the most, but one team, I mean, the max you can bet on them is 17 times, right? So that's probably correct.
Yeah. Well, and if you're like me and you have pretty much the same unit size for every single bet that you place, then I don't think it's that surprising. But also for me, I just realized this and kind of thought about this too. So for me, I a lot of times on Fanduel use Fanduel for my parlays. So if you're talking purely single bets, especially like last year in the NBA playoffs when I would have bet a side of the NBA playoffs just in single games, not in parlays, then I think that makes a lot of sense.
Absolutely.
All right, now this next one, I think this is the one where I take the cake on it, but we'll see what happens. Biggest underdog win in terms of odds. Connor, would you like to start us off with yours?
Plus 11,865.
It's very good. That is very good. That was higher than honestly I was expecting.
Really? I don't even know what that was from.
Well, I don't know what that's from either because that's not it's not mine. It should say it's probably from your biggest winning day. What's your biggest winning day?
10/23/2021.
So that'd have been October 23rd, around Halloween time. I mean, it probably was just a big NHL parlay.
Could have been.
Or NFL.
Was it possibly a 2-touchdown prop?
It could have been. It very well could have been.
Oh, that might have been my 3-touchdown Aaron Jones night.
There you go. That's the thing is you have to try to remember these things because it's been so long. All right, Diz, what was your biggest underdog win?
It was plus 750, which as my Dizz stands know, I don't like to take crazy parlays and things of that nature. But Patty, do you remember what my plus 750 was? I know we kind of talked about it on Christmas Eve, but my plus 750, do you remember it?
I do, and we definitely did talk about this. So this moment's not going to seem as genuine as it was when we first talked about it, but that was TA7. That good old Tim Anderson.
Timmy Anderson walk off in the Field of Dreams game.
Yep.
One of my favorite gambling moments ever. I'm so happy we talked about it on the pod. I'm so happy we lived about it. And shout out to Rankle. He's been on the pod a few times. He was actually texting me and was like, Tim Anderson walk off right here. And I was like, dude, don't jinx it. And then first freaking pitch, I remember it like it was yesterday. Really awesome. And I still came in last place that month in Dumbest Dummy picks. So that just shows you where I'm at as a gambler. That was an awesome moment, awesome bet, and shout out Tim Anderson.
Also, that month was when I took Tim Anderson to hit a home run at much better odds. It was probably actually like a week before Dizz took it.
It was actually the game before. You got like 9-1 odds, and I think that's why you beat me in the Dumbest Dummy.
It was glorious, but we are a pro TA7 podcast for sure.
Absolutely.
So my biggest underdog win was plus 79,518. That was when I hit the Hail Mary parlay of the day, and there was some NHL. I'm pretty sure there was some NBA going on, maybe even some MLB, and that was when we had that late comeback for the Vegas Golden Knights that ended up cashing that bet, and I still remember it like it was yesterday. Literally could not sleep that night because I was so juiced. Ugh.
That was an awesome night for me as well. Just like you texted me a bunch of times and finally you called me because I was on a long drive, and I tried to stay up for it. I couldn't do it, but waking up to your text that you hit, that was pretty sweet.
Yep. Favorite type of bet? In a shocking turn of events, Fanduel says my favorite type of bet is actually a straight bet. Can you guys believe that?
I was a little surprised, believe it or not, but I can believe it because so many of the bets, I guess for me, I was surprised as well. But thinking back on it, the amount of bets that you make, obviously my favorite type of bet is a teaser, but you can only have so many of those in an NFL season. So I get why mine is a straight. I was a little surprised to see yours was a straight. Connor, was yours a straight as well?
Yes, it was. Straight flush.
But I think you make a good point, right? Like for every 10-leg parlay, you might be taking 10 straights to go along with it. So I think there's just more opportunities to take straights than there are to take parlays.
Absolutely.
I mean, every Dumbest Dummy Competition bet that I do, I do it as straight legs. So, and those are pretty much the only straights that I bet on FanDuel. But even that alone more than covers up for the amount of parlays that I take on FanDuel. So, I assume most bet sport correlates with your guys' most bet team. Mine was basketball, goes with the Suns. No, Connor, what's your most bet sport?
Oh, that should be easy. What do you think
hockey?
It is? It is hockey.
Okay, so that just means you spread your hockey picks out more evenly than you do with your Golden State Warriors basketball picks.
I don't know who to pick. Golden State.
Yeah, exactly. Dizz, there's no way Dizz is baseball.
Yeah, it's actually football. I was surprised as well, simply because of the amount of games the MLB season has. But other than the Reds and a couple no-run second innings, I really didn't bet baseball that much. So
yeah,
I get that it's football, but I was honestly a little surprised as well.
Yep, absolutely. Total bonus awarded, I don't care too much about that. I mean, that's just how many of the risk-free stuff that you took and this, that, or the other. So we'll skip that. This one might be interesting. The number of same-game parlays and parlays won this year. Now, this obviously, I don't know when the cutoff was for this because I've hit a couple since this. But for my year, the number of same game parlays and parlays won was 45. Does anyone top that?
I do not top that, but I was damn happy with mine at 25. So I was barely over half of yours, but
Yeah.
I was pretty juiced with that number. That seems like way too much for me. I wouldn't even think I made 30 parlays past year. I wonder if that counts like refunds on same game parlays and such.
If you hit it, I think that's just what they're counting it for. I don't think if you were to do like a risk-free one, I don't think they would count it as if you lost on a risk-free one and got your money back, I don't think they count that as a parlay one.
I can't believe I had 25. Maybe I'm going to turn into a parlay guy.
How many do you think I have with only less than 4 months of betting?
I was gonna say like 11. Higher?
I bet it's more than me, less than Patty.
It is?
Wow.
37.
36.
Wow.
Oh shit.
36.
Wow. If you would have dethroned me, then I might have had to relinquish my title of Patty Parlays.
Yeah. Well, if I had the full year, maybe.
Yeah. I was gonna say you're hitting at a more frequent rate than I am, that's for sure.
Those hockey ones. Like
Yeah.
I just hit 2 more parlays last night.
Nice.
Yeah. One on winners for hockey and then one on the overs, all 3 overs to hit.
Which I thought wasn't going to be the case. I thought there was no way those overs were going to hit. And then they hit easily. And then biggest single win, I think that just kind of probably correlates with your biggest underdog wins. Is that accurate?
No, for some reason.
Okay.
I must put more money on this one.
So what's your biggest single win then?
$444.19.
Nice. That's good.
So yeah, I put it on something else.
Right.
It must have been like a $10 risk-free that hit or something.
Yeah, for sure. Mine definitely correlates. So my biggest underdog win was 79,000 odds, and so my biggest single win was $796.18. So I just put $1 on that with those odds, and that's the biggest single win. Dizz, is yours the same as your biggest underdog win for odds? Uh-oh. Did we lose Dizz?
Oh,
You guys hear me? I lost you for a bit.
We got you now. Does your biggest single win directly correlate to your biggest underdog win, Dizz?
It did. If you recall, was a 100 piece on the Panthers Rangers over.
Nice. Wait, no. So then it doesn't correlate.
no.
I thought he said it did. It does not correlate.
No.
So what?
Correct.
What was?
It does not correlate.
Does not correlate.
Does not correlate. Okay. What do you have? If you're not in the Whiteland dead spot, do you have the dollar amount, or do you want to share the dollar amount of that biggest single win?
Yeah, it was. You guys got me.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It was $64. I believe it was like minus 135. So my biggest payout win was 65 or 64, something like that.
Very nice. Very nice. So I'm the only one that has the correlation though. What's your biggest same game parlay or parlay one? Mine was the same one as the biggest single win, obviously.
Oh yeah, mine's related to it, and that shows that I did put $10 to win that $444. Yep.
Gotcha. Did same.
Mine was a 10. Mine was not correlated. Mine was a $10 same game parlay at plus 530 odds. So my biggest win is off a single parlay was $53.
Nice. Good stuff. All right. Well, that wraps up the FanDuel in review. That was really fun. I really enjoyed that. It's good to reminisce on the year that was 2021. Thank you, FanDuel, for that. Anything you guys want to touch on or talk about before we move on?
Hey, next pod, can we possibly do a gambling New Year's resolutions? Maybe what our goals are for some of those categories?
Hey, I don't mind it. Uh, Connor won't be really with us for that year, so but if he has one for himself or for if he rejoins the podcast, by all means he can participate if he wants to. But I think that'd be a good idea. Well, so this will be the FanDuel 2021 year in review episode, and then next episode will be the FanDuel 2022 year preview. Maybe. So
And Football Friday?
oh yeah, and Football Friday. It's gonna be an electric episode.
Thursday's Football Friday.
That's right. You get it. All right, boys. Dumbest Dummy Competition bets. So I went 2-2 on Monday. Hit two of my 4 player props. Jimmy Harden, I can't believe he hit more than at 2.5 threes. It was a real ball buster. He kind of went off that night. But that'll happen in the player props game. You know, you betting under or you betting over, and then some freak fluke type accident or something happens, and it is what it is. But we'll keep it moving. Connor, how did you do on Monday?
I went 6-6.
I was gonna say I'm pretty sure you went pretty close to even. I was going through them today, and I was like, hit, miss, hit, miss, hit, miss, and I was 6-6, exactly 6-6.
I was so confident in hockey. Like late last night, I was looking at all the basketball and I was like, okay, hockey just needs to hit and I'm gonna be killing it. But no, Lightning and Sharks did not win in regulation. They both did win,
Exactly, yes.
but that hurt.
Yeah, that was rough.
I should have added the boost to my picks.
So, well, I don't think the boost was out yet by the time we had recorded this episode, but also I am fairly certain that the Lightning should have lost last night. They were down 4-3 with like 20 seconds left, and then the Lightning tied it up.
Well, they were winning like the entire game.
Yeah. Also, I think the Canadians might have a worse power play than the Golden Knights. I don't know if you watched any of that game, but when the Canadians had a power play, I think they said their power play percentage is tied for last in the league. So that stat matches up. But it literally looked like even though the Canadians were on the power play, that they were playing defensive and trying to not let the Lightning score shorthanded on their power play. Like, it was literally like the craziest thing I've ever seen. So the Canadians are up there with the Golden Knights as having bad power play units.
Yeah.
And then, of course, Dizz was not here on Monday, so he didn't have Dumbest Dummy Competition bets. But we do have updated standings. So I am down 5.46 units on the month. Connor is down 12.38 units this month. And Dizz is the only one that is positive, and he is up a whole 0.24 units.
Let's go.
So treading water over there.
We are killing it as a podcast in this Dumbest Dummy competition.
Let's go.
Now, for bet, do you have something, Dizz?
I was just gonna say it's odd that we're all down individually, but as a group, our best bets, we're doing the best we've ever done as a unit. I think that's interesting.
So part of that is I think the what am I saying? The caps we put on the group best bets, that plus 150 to minus 150, it makes us kind of hone in on that, and we're not going and searching for something, but also we pick bets that for the most part all 3 of our great minds come together and combine and agree on a bet. These other ones we just kind of do on our own, and then if we see, others matching it or whatever, then we'll, pick the best ones as a group. So I think that is part of it. 3 heads are better than 1 usually. But so I have like a long laundry list of competition bets for tonight. I'm trying to make up some ground, but I went a little bit overboard on the player props. So Patty Player Props is back, and I actually have 11 competition bets for tonight, and they're all kind of long-winded. So I can go first if you want me to do that, or I can go last. But these aren't simple games. These are player props with stats and information backing it. So I'm going to take a while. I might take 15 minutes on my own. So I believe
I'd love to go then.
Okay. Dizz, go ahead and give us your competition bets.
Absolutely. So, hey, I have to jump on this. It was my biggest win. We just talked about it. Panthers Rangers play tonight. The over is 6. Essentially, it's not the same thing as 5.5, but if we do land on 6, it's a push.
Right.
So I'm taking Panthers Rangers over 6. Now I am just doing a normal $5 unit. I'm not putting 100 piece. Want to make that very clear. I don't know how to feel with the NHL being off for so long. I feel like the skaters will be fresh and there will be a lot of pucks on net. So I'm feeling the over there. Have to stick to what I know. That is my first one. Then I have a FanDuel boost. Clemson and Oklahoma both to win in a parlay. Clemson plays Iowa State and Oklahoma plays Oregon. Clemson, Iowa State is more of a coin flip, but Oklahoma is big favorites against Oregon. So really banking on Clemson tonight and hoping Oklahoma can take care of business. Got those odds at plus 200. So some juicy value there. And then to add to my value, to add to my lead, I have a player prop. It will be Sabonis first basket tonight in the Pacers game. And part of the reason I'm taking this is because Renko will be at this game. So I'm going to probably watch the first couple minutes or so. And that's the beauty about first basket props, especially betting on the Pacers. You don't have to watch the entire game. So riding Sabonis first basket at plus 650. And then my last one, Patty, we didn't get to see each other on Christmas. So I feel like now is the time for you to open your Christmas present live on the air. This is going to be a spectacular moment, and it ties into my last Dumbest Dummy pick.
Now I'm terrified. I don't know what this is going to be. Okay. Very well wrapped, by the way. I don't know if you did this or Sarah did this, but well done.
I don't like that you doubted my rapping abilities. That is 100% me. I'm a better rapper than she is. 100%. I take pride in my rapping abilities.
Well,
straight out of 8 Mile.
For the record,
I can spit bars too.
For the record, you are related to me, and I am the worst rapper of all time. So I just kind of assumed it ran in the family.
But I'm also related to Big Mike, who is one of the greatest rappers of all time. So
Mike would just wrap our gifts in newspaper. I mean, shout out Dirty Mike. I miss the guy, but I mean,
the ability for him to rap in newspaper, it's actually harder than rapping paper. So maybe that's how he got so good.
Yeah, that could be it. Okay. So there's no tape on this box, I don't think. So I'm going to reveal this and see what we got. Oh, no. Oh, my gosh.
Oh,
Oh, man. All right.
I was just hoping it wasn't Tana. Oh, release the Kraken. Release the Kraken. Oh, my goodness.
Looks better on you than I thought it would. I'm not gonna lie about that. It is a Yanni Gord jersey. I don't know if you're a fan of Yanni Gord, but
oh yeah,
I figured that would be the one I should go for. So transitioning into my final bet, simply because I got you the gift, got you the jersey, I gotta go Kraken. Minus 135 money line tonight. That is my last pick. Thought it fit the gift.
Oh, that is amazing. Thank you, Diz. I appreciate it. And did you say that this came from China, or did I miss that?
This is 100% a fake jersey from a sweatshop, but it looks real. It looks better than I thought it would.
Yeah, no, it looks fantastic. Now, my question is, did you order this 5 months ago and you just got it in time for Christmas?
That's actually a funny story. I ordered it late November, so I was totally ready to put a piece of paper with a picture of the jersey in the box and say, hey, this is coming in March of 22. But it actually came on time, and I was juiced about that. So there we go.
This is fantastic. I mean, it's a fantastic looking jersey too. Top Dog got Connor a Seattle Kraken jersey, a real Seattle Kraken jersey, and I don't know how it compares necessarily, but it looks stitched. It looks real. I mean, I'll take it.
I will say it does smell really weird. I don't know if you've smelled it yet. I was
Well, he's wearing it.
I was concerned about the smell, but yeah, like Connor said, I mean, no offense to Patty, but he hasn't smelled the best at certain points. So I figured that wouldn't be an issue.
Unbelievable.
I figured that wouldn't be an issue. I don't know the last time you've showered. I know you've been cooped up in the house for a bit, so
wow.
I didn't think
I showered last night. All right.
There we go. See, I'm proud of you. Your hygiene is improving.
Unbelievable. That ricochet shot that I just took for my hygiene was totally unnecessary.
I gotta bring you down somehow. I can't just compliment you all night.
Okay.
He's saying your hygiene is just like your bets, they think.
Oh man, it just keeps coming.
Oh. We have to take you down a peg. You're riding high right now because you got a jersey.
Yeah.
Yeah, bring it to reality.
All right. Connor, go ahead and give us your dumbest dummy. But thank you, Dizz. This is a great gift. Even if it's not 100% legit, I'm treating it as if it is.
Hey, I appreciate that. You're welcome, buddy.
All right. So I have 16.
Oh my Lord.
So basically, Connor is taking every NBA game, every NHL game, and maybe parlaying them together or both separately from each other, but parlaying.
All but one is a hockey bet.
Oh wow! So you were going hockey money lines and then hockey over unders, and then
yes.
Okay, all right. I was kind of close, but go on. I'll let you rattle through these, and I'll even let you know on the money lines which ones I agree or disagree with.
All right. So I took two boosts that are part of this. One of them is a hockey boost. It's the Devils, Capitals, and Panthers to all win at plus 440. And then the other one is Clemson and Oklahoma to win at plus 200. That is my only non-hockey.
Okay, but I didn't get a touch on this because Dizz also took that. I also took that boost. It's not part of my dumbest dummy picks, but I do really, really like that. And Dizz, normally I would agree with you saying that Clemson and Iowa State is a toss-up, but a lot of Iowa State key players are not playing in this. Clemson has their full team playing, so I do, in fact, like Clemson a lot in that game.
I love that Connor took it. I mean, whenever me and Connor bet together, it normally hits, so I'm feeling great.
I mean, just forget the fact that I said I also took it, but, it's fine.
It's only us.
Yeah, it's just you two. It's fine.
Well, I mean, okay, all right. I'm sorry, Patty. I'm more confident that we're all taking it. There we go. Can you just cut out the part? I mean, you're our editor, too.
It's fine. We'll do it live. All right, continue, Connor. Sorry to interrupt.
All right, so I got 6 money lines next and then parlayed them together. So I'm taking the Devils, the Capitals, and the Panthers, just like the boost. Then the Oilers, the Flyers, and the Ducks. So I am betting against the Kraken. And I saw what you took in NHL.
Yeah.
I would call that an underdog parlay, the one you took.
Oh, I will say I did notice I took quite a few money line underdogs, but when you were just reading those off, I was like, oh man, if we go 6 for 6 being on opposite sides, that would just be icing on the cake.
So parlaying that together brings it to 34.98.
Nice.
So then we go to the overs and unders.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I don't know if you touched on any of these.
Mm-mm.
Did you? No? Okay. I'm taking the Devils over 6, the Capitals over 6, the Panthers over 6.5 is what I got them at earlier today. The Oilers under 6.5, the Ducks under 6, or the Flyers under 6.5, and the Ducks over 5.5.
You took a Kraken under?
I did because Tanev is out.
That is true, and the Flyers kind of suck.
Yeah. So with Tanev out, I did not take the Kraken money line or for them to hit the over. And it's 6.5.
Oh yeah. 6.5 is a lot, but also we do kind of have to wait and see what this team looks like without Tanev. Tanev is that spark for that team, whether he's scoring or not. He's usually making things happen. But
Yeah. And then parlay the over and unders that I took for 52.93.
Jesus, there
So
there is a possibility that Connor could just be running away with this thing by the end of the night.
could be.
Are you concerned? No,
No concerns.
I'm just playing.
All right. That's all yours, right?
Yep, that's all of them. All 16 of them. That's it. That's all I had.
Okay.
Connor, a little prop bet for you. Will Patty's synopsis of his Dummest Dummy picks be over or under 7.5 minutes? I'm going to time it.
Oh, boy.
Does that
Let's
include
say
any comments or feedback from you guys?
It depends what Connor says.
Yes, it does.
Yes, it does include it, and yes, you're going over it.
I'm going under.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Under 7.5. Because I will not have much to say about these.
Because they're all basketball, and basketball's not.
Only thing I have to say is I didn't see the Devin Booker one out there. So could he be out tonight?
Oh my God, I will freak out if that is the case.
Time starts on you, Patty. I'm hammering the over. You know how I do it.
Yeah. Let me see. Hold on. No, Devin Booker's player points are still out there, so I assume it's out there. They might be just changing lines or something. Sometimes they'll do that.
Okay.
So I'm not ready to worry about it just yet.
I didn't ask if you were concerned.
Oh, sorry.
Just want to make sure.
My apologies. So, like I mentioned, I have 11 NBA player props tonight. Patty player props is in full swing. And if you guys are listening and watching this and you want to check out now, I understand, because this next 15 minutes might be real boring because it's just going to be me rambling on about player props. So we will start off in Memphis. Memphis is taking on the Lakers. I've got 4 from this game alone. So really like the matchups in this one. But we're going to start off with Steven Adams over 12.5 rebounds plus assists at -113. So over his last 5 games, he has averaged 15.2 rebounds plus assists. Also, in 2 games against the Lakers this season, he has averaged 18.5. And that's just simply because the Lakers aren't very good at defense. They rank 28th in rebounds allowed and 27th in assists allowed. So I really like this spot. I like this Memphis team to put up a lot of stats against this Lakers' terrible defense.
Can I cash out and take the over?
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
Over the
time. The next one, still in that same game, we're going Desmond Bane over 18.5 points at -116, which, by the way, Desmond Bane is a great name. Strong, fantastic, powerful name. But he also has hit this in 7 of his last 10 games. But he has hit this line in 5 straight games without Dillon Brooks. And, of course, he is out tonight. So I think that he has realized that he has to step up in the absence of Dillon Brooks, take more shots, have more opportunities, play more minutes. And, again, the Lakers' defense is horrific. They rank 27th in points allowed. I like Desmond Bane over 18.5 points. At -116 if you need that. I don't know if you need that, Connor, for secretary note-taking abilities.
Thanks for calling me secretary again. But
yep. I'll add that to the list of adjectives. I'll add that to the list of adjectives when I read it off in your final episode. Yeah.
Secretary.
Okay. Now, this one, this is the one that I'm taking just basically a pure flyer on. Not necessarily a ton of stats to back this up, but the matchup is great, so I'm doing this, and this is my guy. I've been trying to do this for a few times this season. Ja Morant triple-double tonight at +2,000 odds. This is a combo of all the facts and stats that we've heard so far about the Lakers. The Lakers played last night, and they had two players last night, LeBron and Russell Westbrook, get triple doubles in the same game. So I think that they will not be able to put up a good performance in back-to-back nights on the road. I think LeBron's old. LeBron may not even play, even though it says he's probably going to play. He's an old man. There's no denying it. He's on the back-to-back of a road doubleheader. I could see them just happening to decide he's sitting out at the last minute. But, again, the Lakers rank 27th in points allowed, 28th in rebounds allowed, and 27th in assists allowed. That's bottom 5 in the league in all three major categories. So if there is a game that is perfect for Ja Morant to get his triple-double, it is tonight. Let's cash this, boys. Moving on to the last player prop for this game. I know I mentioned LeBron may or may not play. That's just my personal opinion. But if he does play, I am taking LeBron over 28.5 points at minus 116 value. Now, he hit this same line last night, so I like that. But I actually took him at 30-plus points last night. But this one's a bit of a buffer because, again, it is a back-to-back on the road. LeBron's not the spry young fella he used to be. But he actually averages 34.3 points this season without Anthony Davis playing. And, of course, he is out tonight again. And he hasn't had a single game without Anthony Davis where he didn't score 30 points this season. So this one seems like almost a lock, and I didn't want to go 30-plus for the additional value just because I don't know that he can do it again after the night he had last night. But I do think 28.5 is a safe lock of a number.
So if he doesn't play, does that bet just voided?
Correct. That basically is I get my dollar back that I bet on it. It doesn't count as a plus or minus unit in this competition. Yeah. That's all it is. It actually happened on Monday. DeAndre Ayton didn't end up playing. He was a late scratch, so my bet was just void. All right, moving away from that game, this is my first under of this slate. I'm going Frank Jackson, under 5.5 rebounds plus assists at minus 122 value. Plain and simple, this line is just wrong. He has hit this line once this season. That is 1 out of 32 games that he has played. He has hit this line, and he hasn't hit it in his last 10 games. So I like the under here on Frank Jackson. Rebounds and assists.
What's the catch? I know you're a too good to be true guy. What's our defense of a too good to be true? What's the catch here? Why is this line so low, or why is it so high? I mean,
I'm curious. Let me check and see if he is starting. He is starting, so I think that factors into it. I don't know if he started the last game or the last couple of games, but the fact of the matter is the Detroit team is riddled with COVID. I mean, Luka Garza is starting at center for them tonight, Dizz. He averages like 4 minutes a game when he's not starting, and so I think last game, in fact, Frank Jackson did start, and so did Luka Garza. I mean, they're Detroit's down bad. They just have no one left on their roster, so they're scraping the bottom of the barrel. But even last game, Frank Jackson did not hit this 5.5 rebounds plus assists. And so I think they just kind of gave him a little bit of a buffer because he's starting and he'll see increased minutes. But I don't see it.
Gotcha.
And it is juiced to minus 122. Most of these are around the minus 110 range. But the ones that are juiced a bit are the minus 122. So that line may even move down to 4.5. I would not take this at 4.5 for the record. He has hit 5 a couple times in the last 10 games, but I think at under 5.5, I think that's a lock. If there is such thing as a lock. All right, moving on. Dorian Finney-Smith over 20.5 points plus rebounds plus assists at minus 102. So if you recall, I actually had the same guy in the same pick on Monday, but the line was at 17.5. So the market has adjusted. They realized that line was wrong on Monday. This has moved up to 20.5. but he actually averages 21.2 points plus rebounds plus assists without Luka Doncic. And Connor, what do we say about the Kings?
So to always fade the Kings, hockey or basketball.
And they are facing the basketball Kings tonight. They rank 28th in points allowed, 25th in rebounds allowed, and 16th in assists allowed. So I'm going back to the Dorian, Finney, Smith, points, rebounds, and assists tonight. We're getting there, boys. We're about halfway there.
Ooh.
Hope you guys
You're
are
30. We're 30 seconds away from the over, so for Connor's sake, you better make this quick.
Hey, I cashed out after the first one.
Yeah, exactly. This next one is Mikal Bridges, over 13.5 points plus assists at -122. He has hit this in 7 of 9 games without DeAndre Ayton, and they're playing the Oklahoma City Thunder, which aren't a very good team, but they rank 17th in points allowed and 22nd in assists allowed, so I really like this matchup. Same game here. I'm going Devin Booker, over 9.5 rebounds plus assists at -108. He has hit this in 6 of 7 games without Ayton, like I mentioned. And again, it's a very good matchup against the Oklahoma City Thunder. They rank 29th in rebounds allowed, and again, 22nd in assists allowed. And with Ayton out, there's more rebounds to be had by the Suns and just by anyone in this game in general. So I like that one. Now I'm going to my second and final under of this list. Isaiah Roby, under 7.5 rebounds plus assists at -132. Now, I do have a question. Do either of you guys know who Isaiah Roby is or what team he plays on?
I have no idea.
I looked at the notes.
Well, for the record, I didn't. And I don't think you guys would without Connor getting a little brief peek.
No.
But he has not hit this line yet this season. And Phoenix ranks 19th in rebounds allowed and 6th in assists allowed. So, I just really think that, again, this is another one where maybe a player that doesn't play so much, they kind of were feeling out what his line should be for some of these, and this one's just plain wrong. The next one, I'm going Jordan Clarkson of the Utah Jazz, over 20.5 points at -104. What? Yeah, Connor?
Raising my hand. This is the one I was thinking of, not Devin Booker. This is the one that I think is no longer out there.
Oh, no, Connor. Why? Oh, no.
I do not see his name.
Say it ain't so. Say it ain't so. No, he's still out there. You have to hit show all on the player points because...
Don't show all. He's out.
But anyways...
Wow, you have to scroll one more to see him. Yeah, he's a garbage player then. Couldn't make the front page.
Well, yeah, I guess. But this one was interesting to me. So Donovan Mitchell is out tonight for the Jazz. And he has actually, Jordan Clarkson has hit this line in both games this season without Donovan Mitchell in the game. And the Trailblazers rank 26th in points allowed. So not sure why this line is where it is. Maybe it's because Jordan Clarkson just doesn't start. But we're going to keep it moving here. And the final one for you guys, I'm going Tyrese Halliburton, over 11.5 rebounds plus assists at -111. So he has hit this in 8 of his last 10, including 7 straight games. He has been the Kings' darling. He's been the one bright spot on this Kings team that we fade and don't mess with. But he just puts up stats. He's a stat sheet stuffer, as some people like to call them. And the Mavs rank 15th in rebounds allowed and 17th in assists allowed. So not as good of a matchup as I was hoping for, but I'm jumping on this Halliburton train. And that is all for Patty's player props for the Dumbest Dummy Competition bets.
11 minutes.
I told you, boys, it might have been close to 15. So,
Oof.
There you go.
Don't ask the class if they have any questions, because that the nerdy one will always have something to ask and keep the whole class afterwards.
Hey,
right.
Do we have any homework? Just kidding.
Wow.
There was always that kid that would just ruin the night for you.
A little live update here. After one quarter, Clemson is up 3-0 on Iowa State.
Killing them. Just slaughterfest out there.
Yeah. Yep. All right. Group best bets. So as a group, we are up 2.83 units. We had a 3-0 night on Monday. No thanks to Dizz, but we are keeping it moving.
Wow.
Sorry. I took a few shots to this episode. I had to throw one right back.
That's fair. That's fair.
Fair's fair. Bets that we like tonight. Let's see. Well, Connor, there was
Panthers over 6.
Panthers.
Yeah.
Yep.
Minus 120.
Okay. Let me write this down. Panthers Rangers over 6.
In the
I'll see
words
the
of
Panthers.
Miles, pucks on net, baby.
That's right. Shout out Fork Me. Shout out Miles. So Connor, I think this was the one game that we actually agreed on. How do we feel about the Ducks money line versus the Canucks?
Yeah, the Canucks have been terrible since the beginning of the season.
And it's at home for Anaheim. I didn't even think they would let the Canucks travel to Anaheim, but they did.
All right, it's minus 114. How do you feel about it, Diz?
Yeah, I'll ride with you. You guys are hot without me, so whatever you guys want, I'm here for it.
Okay. And then I don't feel great about any NBA picks tonight. I feel great about player props, but how do we feel about taking Oklahoma -7 versus the Oregon Ducks?
Gives me the shakes. Oklahoma has struggled covering the spread, and I don't know. I know I have a money line in my dumbest dummy, but 7 points seems like a lot. And you know I hate taking favorites by that much.
Okay.
My last suggestion, I was talking to a coworker today who is a Purdue fan, and I'm loving Nichols plus 29 against Purdue on the hardwood tonight, simply because Nichols, I believe they're like 9-5 or something, and they have a win over a Power 5 team. So I feel like 29 points is a lot to cover, especially if Purdue has a lead. They'll probably rest their starters. I know Purdue has a lot of depth and whatnot, but I feel like that could be a fun bet, rooting for Nichols to cover by 29.
Well, Diz, I have bad news for you. That game is currently ongoing.
Son of a bitch, what's the score?
Nichols is down 17.
At what point of the game?
14 minutes left to go.
Damn it, shit.
The current spread is 27.5.
Damn it, I wish I bet it.
Yeah.
Nickels and dimes.
Nickels and dimes. We got screwed. No, that's not how the saying goes. We could pull a page from my boy Miles and just go Kentucky -20 versus Missouri on the hardwood. I know nothing about either of these teams. I know Kentucky's generally good at basketball, Missouri's generally not.
Was this a scheduled game, or was this part of the Kentucky said we'll play anyone? I saw that Kentucky was like, hey, if you get a game canceled because the other team has COVID, come play us, which I kind of love that move. I'm down for that.
Well, this is an SEC matchup, so I assume this was a scheduled game.
Oh, okay.
But still, I like Kentucky 20 points at home.
Sure.
All right. Let me put these in real quick.
What are the odds on that?
-110. What could go wrong? Just betting a sport blindly that we don't really follow. All right, boys. It is time for the multi-sport Hail Mary parlay of the day. And when I say this is a Hail Mary, this is as close to a Hail Mary as you're going to see on this podcast. I bet every single NBA and every single NHL game. And like Connor said, a lot of my NHL ones were moneyline underdogs. So, I know Connor probably already saw the value of this.
I did.
So, Dizz, best of luck to you. We have 14 legs on here, I believe. What do you think the value is for $1 on this?
14 legs, and you're
And I'm feeling
14 legs.
saucy on the ice. 6 of them are on the ice, and most of them are money line underdogs.
Yeah.
I bet it's a couple G's. I'm gonna say 9,000.
Okay, that's more than a couple G's. You were actually relatively close. Me and Connor kind of looked at each other when you said a couple G's because we're like, if he just guesses 2,000, he's going to be wrong. This is $1 to win $13,034.84.
Holy.
This would be on my 2022 year preview or year in review whenever that comes out.
Holy cow.
So we'll start in the NBA. And then the first one, I'm going Pacers minus 3.5 versus the Hornets. I don't feel great about it. I don't like betting on the Pacers, but the Pacers are at home where they're generally better against the spread, and the Hornets are on the road when they're generally bad against the spread. So I am hoping the Pacers have themselves a game, and it makes me feel great knowing that Rankle is going to be at that game.
Absolutely.
But then I'm going Knicks minus 7.5 versus the Pistons. Clippers +6 versus the Celtics. Grizzlies minus 5.5 versus the Lakers. Bulls minus 8 versus the Hawks. Thunder +14 versus the Suns. Jazz minus 7.5 versus the Trailblazers. And then Mavericks minus 2.5 versus the Kings. Connor, I struggled with that Mavericks one. But we say it all the time. You have to fade the Kings.
You got it.
That was the only reason I took that side of that bet. Because I feel like the Mavericks have more people out than the Trailblazers do, but you have to, or the Kings, sorry, but you have to fade the Kings.
Yeah, we have certain rules here that you have to abide by. You fade both of the Kings. You always bet the over on the Sabres.
Yep.
And over on the Kraken.
We don't make the rules; we just follow them.
I did not take the over on the Kraken. I think Tanev changes the game.
Well, and 6.5 is we usually say bet the over 5.5. And so when it gets to 6.5, you kind of have to really evaluate things. But And then in the NHL, I'm going Sabres money line versus Devils, Predators money line versus Capitals, Rangers money line versus Panthers, Blues money line versus the Oilers, Kraken money line versus the Flyers, and Ducks money line versus Canucks. And it's hilarious because I bet the exact opposite side of the 3 teams on that boost.
Yeah, way to go there.
Which almost makes me feel better because I feel like a lot of time the boosts are cursed, if you will.
Hockey boosted yesterday.
It did. I took it as well. That did hit for us. It was nice little payday.
Hockey's back though. You doubt it.
Hockey, baby, hockey. Pucks on net.
You got it.
Great. I had to watch some hockey last night because the hockey came back.
Yep.
And I watched that horrific Canadians power play, and I was like, okay, I'm turning this off.
Yeah, that's a game I wouldn't have watched.
Yeah, I know.
Watched either of the other two.
But the other two started at 10:30, so I was like, no, I'm not having that.
Yeah.
All right, boys. Well, because of my long-winded answers and responses, we are now over an hour long. But do you guys have anything that you guys need to get off your chest before we go into a Football Friday or Thursday edition of Football Friday tomorrow?
I was just going to ask when Connor's last pod is. Do we know when that's going to be?
So I believe that is next Friday. Is that correct?
Yes, the 7th.
Yes.
Holy.
So we have one more week with our glorious, esteemed partner, Connor, here.
Pat, I'm going to send you like 80 different nicknames. I want you to rattle it off for like 10 minutes.
Lord.
Oh, my God. It's going to be amazing. It's going to be possibly the greatest intro to the podcast of all time. It'll probably rival up there with my 11 player props that I rattled off for 11 minutes. We're going to have 15 minutes of Connor introduction.
Well, hopefully it's not gone forever.
I know, but that's just but it'll be electric. It'll be a good way to go.
All right.
But anything that you guys need to get off your chest?
I love that hockey's back. Got to reminisce in our year. Pretty great. My 4 months, actually. But, yeah.
It's all right, though. What a 4 months it was.
Yeah, I was going to say your 4 months was more impressive than my entire year. So
Yeah, that's true. but I actually just thought about this. I wanted to bring it up because I thought it was pretty funny. So on Pat McAfee's show today, he had Dr. Drew on,
Yeah.
and I don't know too much about Dr. Drew.
Oh,
Do you know about Dr.
yeah,
Drew?
I do. I do know Dr. Drew.
What's he famous for? I don't. I mean,
He had like
was it like a TV
um,
show?
yeah, it was like a late night show. I forget
what
what
I
it was
thought.
called. And now he has his own podcast called Dr. Drew After Dark, where
Okay.
people, just obnoxious people, send him ridiculous questions and stuff.
Gotcha. Okay, but anyways, he came on the Pat McAfee show, and they were talking about stuff because someone basically said Pat McAfee was spreading misinformation and trying to get people killed on his show. So they brought on Dr. Drew, like an actual doctor with degrees and stuff, to talk about COVID and the vaccines and stuff. And Dr. Drew said that he believes if you are vaccinated and you end up getting COVID, then you have what some people are referring to as super immunity, because you have the immunity from getting the virus itself, and then also added in with the vaccine, helping out or whatever. So basically, boys, I'm super immune to COVID now, and I'm basically like just good to go for forever. I just wanted to throw that out there and let you guys know that I am now super immune to COVID.
Well, the overlords at YouTube are going to kick you off now for spreading misinformation. So.
Hey, if they don't kick off Pat McAfee, then they can't kick us off, right? We're basically in the same boat.
That is 100% incorrect.
more misinformation. It just keeps flowing.
He's got all the Fanduel money now. No way.
Yeah.
He could own YouTube tomorrow.
Yeah.
I mean, Patty has that jersey now, so who's the real winner?
Yeah.
Well, apparently me, if I'm super immune and I have this jersey now. So, I mean, things are looking up for your boy. I just had to share that. I thought it was hilarious.
Happy for you, Pat.
It'd be very unfortunate if we got kicked off YouTube for my last week. That was going to be on the pod. Suspension for a week.
we would have to bring Craig back. I know Dizz has been pushing to bring Craig back into the mix anyways. So
I miss Craig. For a couple months of my life, Craig was the only thing I was sure about. So,
well, Craig was going to have his own camera and everything. I don't know if you were part of that discussion.
Connor wanted to have a bubble or a screen camera for Craig, and it was just going to be a teddy bear with like a knife into it.
A bunch of stab wounds and a knife in it. Saying, there's Craig. He is dead.
R.I.P. Craig.
He's gone.
Yeah. Connor went relatively dark, and I said I don't have the setup or the capabilities to make that happen. But Craig did have a possibility of making it on camera at some point.
You would have the Craig cam.
The Craig cam, yeah. And if we had like buttons and everything split up, we're like, all right, now we're gonna go talk to Craig here on the Craig cam, and it's just full screen, and it's just a teddy bear.
It's a possibility.
Hey, we're 2022 preview. We're gonna get a Craig cam and get Craig some action on the podcast in Connor's absence.
Forget getting advertisers or anything like that.
None of that.
Craig cam is number one.
How do you think we get all of that? It starts with the Craig cam.
Exactly.
Yeah. All right. Thank you all for listening and joining us for this 2021 year in review. We really appreciate it. Make sure you follow us on Twitter and Instagram at SportsBetByDumb, and find us on YouTube and subscribe to us on YouTube. If you search for Sports Betting by Dummies in the search bar in the YouTube and filter by channel, we should be that top option. Look for that black and yellow logo. You can't miss it. And we look forward to you guys joining us tomorrow for not only a Football Friday, but also our goals and resolutions for the 2022 year. So hopefully tonight is profitable for everyone, and we will see you all tomorrow.